People let it talk, I let them do it all week. When it's time, better let the man sing or speak. It ain't sweet when you line up in the big leagues, big names and the best teams with the critique. Always on point, better come and grab a good seat.
Ladies and gentlemen, today is for Top Gooners. I got my brothers here with me. I got Coach and I got Omar. We're going to go over our top 10 Arsenal players list. And this is Prem era only. I am not an Arsenal fan, but I will give a little bit of my input. So before we get all this kicked off, I want to take a temperature check. How's everybody feeling? We're just talking about the Kai Havertz news. How are we feeling for the rest of the season? What's the plan? What's the goal? What do you do in the summer?
Right. I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm super calm. Not about the season, but I'm just trying to. I feel like the season's chalks now, so I've been trying to push things away. I even thought of banning the word Arsenal from my Twitter timeline because the stuff I read every day is just a little bit too much, I think, for my mental health, you know. And I already deal with it with personal friends by talking about football every day. So who knows? Maybe we'll work on that.
No,
I remember that.
you, man. I don't blame you, honestly. For me, I found out about I was having a strange day to begin with, but I found out about the Kai news in the middle of like a 5-hour in-person meeting that I had to it was so I'm there trying to pay attention and obviously like make my notes and shit, but all I can think about literally is Leicester on Saturday and how we're gonna line up. So yeah, I think I did okay for the rest of my meeting, but yeah, my head was in the sky and I couldn't really react kind of thing because that's like, what else they're gonna be? Liverpool are gonna win 6-0 tonight, even though they didn't. But yeah, it was just bad. But overall, for me personally, I'm still optimistic. I'm just nowhere near as optimistic as I was, I don't know, after we beat Crystal Palace, and that was the game that Saka went down injured as well. But I still felt good. But I was just like, yeah, my optimism has gone down sizably since then. I'd say still there.
Moment is too raw. I'm not gonna ask you guys if you think Marino is gonna be number 9. I'm not gonna ask you guys what you think that's gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like out of everything that we've got left there, we know Arteta doesn't like to place too much importance on young players in attack. At least he doesn't want to burden them too much. So it would make sense for him to like, you know, play Marino there instead of Nwaneri. But there's lots of options there. The Arsenal shape could change completely where we go to a 3-5-2. You know, Ben White is now officially back. Him playing in a back three would be really good for his recovery to full fitness as well. He wouldn't have to cover as much space. You know, he's got 2 absolute titans next to him in Saliba and Gabriel, so that would be good. So yeah, but you know, and then we use wing backs in what's his name in MLS, who's gonna come in field anyway. Got Timber there, that even Turney at some point. You know, like there's options in it, but just not the options that we want.
Yeah, Tierney left wing shout. That's what everyone wants to see right now.
Yeah, I think Turney whipping it in, Marino like coming in for bullet headers. Originally, that was going to be the plan for Havertz, but you got to do what you got to do, man.
Yeah, if people didn't like the way we played all season, they're about to hate the way we played the rest of the season. I'll tell you that right now.
We're actually going to become set piece FC and not just the shit that the media have been trying to push. So yeah.
All right, look, let's jump right into it. I'm going to give you guys my honorable mentions, and then you can all tell me yours. Okay. There's a theme here between my honorable mentions, and I think you'll be able to pick up on it quite quickly. All right, first one, obviously, is Marwan Shamah. Second one, Mohamed El Neni.
Nice.
Number 3, Musa Diaby. 4 is Kolasinac, and I struggled with that one, right? Because
you mean Abu Diaby?
Oh, Abu Diaby, yes.
Kolasinac, no shot.
I don't know. You tell me. Is it because they all don't eat pork? Is that what it is?
Ding 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 ding. Thank you, sir. There we go.
Yeah, wait, you forgot
so it's
one.
not because they're Muslim.
Wait. Is that okay? Wait, that means this player must be in your top 10 if you didn't.
No. Who? There's more. Listen, you guys, a plethora of goods. I can continue to go on with this list. I'm not done. Whose name were you thinking?
I was just gonna say Mesut Ozil because
on there.
Okay.
Samir Nasri, I know he's been to at least one Juma. On there.
Yeah.
At least one. That boy's dangerous.
And this one, I told Omar before the show, Coach, I'll need you to tell me what you think. Rami Shaban, Arsenal keeper, 3 appearances.
Yeah, he was sweet. He was a Swedish international, wasn't he? I think he
Hmm.
played for us between '02 to '04.
You got it.
Yeah, I remember.
Egyptian father.
Yeah, Egypt for yeah, he was Swedish. Yeah, I remember him.
Omar, your honorable mentions, please.
All right. Right now I got four.
Okay.
So we'll start with the top two. Who made a big impact. During the during the tenure when I was an Arsenal fan, which is Mesut Ozil and Alexis Sanchez.
Hmm.
I feel like they carried us through a lot of rough moments, despite Ozil having, the terrible backside of his career with us. So
Hmm.
the other two, and this might be a little, controversial, but there's Robin van Persie
Hmm.
and Gilberto Silva, an
Robin
invincible
van Persie to me,
that I
Robin van
could have put in
Persie
my
to me
top 10.
can never be controversial ever to me. Love the player. Like the United shit was rubbish, but you can imagine it like this. If Marcus Rashford was any good, like as in when I say any good in the sense that he carried on that 30 goal season from 2 years ago, and then Arsenal came along and bought him at this age at 27 years old, kind of thing. I don't think United fans can be mad at him. You see what I'm saying? In that sense. Like he's done what he needed to do for you guys, and you guys just haven't been able to be at the top to actually even be in the conversation to win stuff. You see what I'm saying? So that's the way I feel about Van Persie. At the time, it sucks. So I was still a bit deluded, thinking, yeah, we can win the league, but we weren't winning the league with flipping Koscielny and Thomas Vermaelen, as well as Koscielny did for us. Like they
Yeah,
just wasn't gonna
and
happen.
and
So
I agree with you, and also I feel like we're starting to see a similar pattern
hmm,
with the players we have today.
yeah.
And if it were the case where Saliba would have to leave because he's not winning anything, would you be mad? Absolutely not. I'll just
To
be
be
like,
honest, to be honest, because the way football is now, right? Players are ambitious and players want to win stuff. Don't get me wrong, kind of thing. But players want to earn money. Like that's I
yeah,
feel like we really discount that. Like Arsenal pay very, very well. Like Declan Rice can talk about, yeah, he turned down seat and stuff like that, but he's not getting chicken change at Arsenal. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
So like so let's yeah, so I think as long as Arsenal are in the position that we're in now in terms of, at least being close kind of thing. We shouldn't have to worry too much about that. But I
Mm.
take your point. I understand it in that regard. But I think, yeah, players want to be paid like
I mean,
legit.
look, Cheeto Obi Martin, his every time his salary gets reported in the news, it doubles and it triples. But
Yeah.
realistically, United doubled it, right?
Well, I don't, to be honest, I know someone that's close to the situation, so I'll ask them, but I I don't I do know that obviously they're paying him more than what we were offering him. But yeah, at the same time as well, he's in the, he look they've named him as a senior player basically, haven't they? Like so he potentially could, even play for United this season. So and all players want to play football. So yeah, if that's what he says, then I'm gonna take it. As a black man, I'm not gonna slander him and say, "Oh yeah, he's only gone for the
Yeah,
money." But then,
start pocket watching. I feel you. I feel
I'm not Jamie Carragher. So, so
you
yeah,
also don't
but
spit on kids over here, bro.
yeah, exactly, man. Swats. Um, But yeah, I suppose my honorable mentions. First one's Freddie Ljungberg. Um, love the player, absolutely love the player, and the way he speaks about football as well lets me know. Looking back on his career, so much of the shit he did was so deliberate. Especially his style of play was very scruffy, and the way he dribbled and even the way he wore his shorts. Like you see, everyone's talking about Ola Aina, sagging his shit. Freddie Ljungberg was sagging his shit from way back when. Like everything about him was just scruffy kind of thing. But he came up with some huge goals, like absolutely huge goals. And even in his latter Arsenal career as well, like the position change, him playing like in the hole behind the striker, stuff like that. Just a wonderful footballer, man. Really, really enjoyed him, man. And the fact that he helped bring through Saka as well, helped him with his finishing as well and stuff like that. Yeah, love him. Other honorable mention, Jens Lehmann. To my mind, still the best goalkeeper I've seen at Arsenal. And that's no disrespect to David Seaman. David Seaman is just, yeah, one of the best English keepers ever, point blank period. But with Jens Lehmann, the fact that he was an utter nutcase, like a genuine nutcase, but he was one of the first keepers that I saw that was super duper intentional with the way he kicked the ball. Like he'd always launch it for the wings for a specific reason because we can get knock-ons there. and we could reset the ball. Losing the ball out wide is much better than losing it in the center as well. So yeah, wonderful, wonderful guy. Um, and then I've probably got two more. I'm going to go. I'm gonna go Samir Nasri.
Class.
Yeah, I want to go Samir Nasri only because I don't know how long you guys have been watching us for, but before he went to City, we played Liverpool on a Saturday midday kickoff and they beat us 2-0. And he had already agreed and signed for City. I remember seeing the reports all week in the papers and shit. Yeah, he's already signed for City. He's done his medical and stuff. But we had injuries and we were gonna trot out a team on Saturday with maybe like 3 or 4 players on the bench at best, and he stayed for that game and we still lost, but he was genuinely our best player on the day. And literally on the Monday, he was in Manchester holding his Man City shirt kind of thing. And, you know, we could talk about his skills and his goals against Fulham and shit like that, but that showed to me the measure of the man. So yeah, shout out to Samir Nasri. Um, and I'll probably go with uh, Lauren. Uh, one of my first memories of him was him scoring the winner in a North London derby, a penalty. Um, I don't know if you guys knew this, but if Henry ever won a penalty, he'd never take it. He'd always give it to someone else. And Lauren was um Lauren was a great penalty taker, and yeah, he scored the winner. I think we won 2-1 in a North London derby, and yeah, he was just a nutcase, man. He choked out Van Nistelrooy and shit. He gave it to yeah, man, great guy.
I ran into Loren at the MLS All-Star game, I think last year, but we didn't get to take a picture of him, so we just got to say hello.
Oh,
Instead, we took pictures of the AFTV guys, but whatever. We'll move on.
Yo.
wait, the who guys?
Listen, listen. My friend was chasing him. I was like, I have no choice, or I'm losing him in DC. So, I can't believe I forgot that moment. That should have been this. I just hate myself for that. He just walking by. I was like, wait, and then no picture. It's fine.
A whole invincible.
Exactly.
So before we jump into our top 10, that was something I kind of struggled with, right? Right, because I'm looking at Arsenal as a historical entity. All of these, a lot of those invincible guys could be on this top 10, right? And so you have to start giving yourself constraints as you make it. So when I was making my top 10 list, one of the things that I tried thinking about was historical impact. What kind of foundation did they leave for the future, with what they did, as well as the context of what was going on culturally at the time. So to get it kicked off, Omar and I were discussing, would you put a keeper in your top 10? That's something that I probably wouldn't do if I was making a United list, even though, there's 2 big ones you could put there. I probably wouldn't put a keeper just because you have so many weapons to put a keeper is kind of to waste the spot. I had David Seaman as my number 10, but I removed him after the conversation with Omar and I put Loren. So at number 10, I have Loren. You waxed lyrical about him, said, about what he did to Van Nistelrooy. That was a big part of the culture context for me.
Yeah.
I think when you talk about the Arsenal and United rivalries, it's moments like that really add fuel to the fire. So at number 10, I had Loren.
If we could, if I could, I'd put Invincibles all in my top 10, but I didn't get to witness all of that, so I had to mix it up a bit. So my number 10 is Santi Cazorla for me. He's a player that kind of made me fall in love with the game even more, and was a big player during his tenure with us. So I put him in there. Big memory would be the 2014 game, as we were talking earlier about the FA Cup. That's the impact that kind of stuck with me. That free kick was almost beautiful to watch live. So ended the trophy drought. And he's always smiling. I love players who smile, so
And Short
just
King too, I believe, right?
yeah,
yeah,
man.
he's tiny. He's absolutely tiny. Just on Cazorla though. I think one of the most underrated aspects of his game was just how like literally tenacious he was. Like he was a small guy, but he got pushed about a few times, but genuinely, especially when it came to um like driving with the ball, technically, like it was so hard to knock off the ball. Like once he got it on the half turn, like he was gonna kill you every time. So I enjoyed watching him a bunch. Yeah. My number 10, um, I really, really want to place him higher because he's generally not even just one of my favorite Arsenal players, that's one of my favorite players ever. Um, but I'm attacker biased, so yeah, if you're a defender, you gotta be a bit low, unfortunately. Is Ashley Cole. And I've never hated Ashley Cole, despite the what's the word I'm looking for? The fact that he wanted to be left out of the Invincibles book because he wanted to just, um, show respect to the Arsenal fans because obviously the Chelsea move like is still sour for a lot of people. But for me, best left back to ever play the game. He was better at Arsenal than he was at Chelsea. He just happened to win the Champions League at Chelsea. Um, but as a complete player, as a complete defender, like everything that you'd want from Ashley Cole, he was already better than Roberto Carlos before he left Arsenal. Like we need to be clear on that. A lot of people might not know that, but he was already better than him. And yeah, I get Roberto Carlos was coming towards the end of his career and shit, but he was still good. Like Ashley Cole was mental, like apps modern fullback. Like Ashley Cole playing today, basically, he'd be people would be talking about him like they talk about Trent, basically. Like
Higher because he could actually play defense.
yeah, well, yeah, there's that as well. But he's just, yeah, genuinely a generational talent. And the fact that he used to be a striker as well just makes me laugh all the time. So yeah, he's my number 10.
Perfect. Ashley Cole was my number 9. I think we've waxed lyrical enough about him. The only reservation I had about him was, do you put him on the list? Somebody that had like a Van Persie kind of move, something like that. But after we did our Arsenal show, me and you, Coach, I realized that, listen, certain players, regardless of where they go, class is class.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was about to say my number 9 is exactly like yours. I have Ashley Cole there. Mainly, obviously, I can't put him below Cazorla, but yeah, I want to add. I believe I'm not too certain how long he was there, but I do think he's a product of our academy as well. I don't know if he was
He was
there
the
for
best. He
longer.
was our best ever academy product until a
Okay.
fella called Bukayo Saka came about. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, yeah.
he went on loan. He went on loan to what's it? He went on loan to Crystal Palace, and we had to recall him if I remember because we had a few injuries in our defense, and literally that was the start of his Arsenal career. Literally, like opportunity. Like, what's it? What's the Action Bronson song go? Opportunity be knocking. That was literally it. Like he found he literally became the best left back ever, in my opinion. So,
We could use an opportunity right now from our academy. Who
oh
knows?
man, honestly,
Who knows?
someone
Maybe Nathan Butler. Who knows?
Sego Junior, someone man, please.
What's that Moroccan
Somebody.
guy's name, Omar? What's that Moroccan guy?
Salahadin.
Yeah,
We got the
yeah,
twins. I don't even know
yeah.
what. I think one
Ulad
of them on
Mihan,
loan. I'm
yeah.
not certain. He's not too bad. He's got tech, but they're kids, man. This is
Mm.
a tough position to put him in.
My number 9, a more recent player, but he's played with a few Invincibles. Theo Walcott. Um, Mainly because the time he joined Arsenal, like me and Phil Walcott are the same age, right? And the time he joined Arsenal, like it was literally like, oh my gosh, this kid's living the dream, basically. Like, when you kind of project onto someone, you see what I'm saying? Like, he joined in January, same year that we got to the Champions League final, the only time in our history, and he didn't get to play a game, but he was there, and then literally our whole Emirates era, like if we're talking about reliability, especially in our forwards, he's easily up there as in our maybe top 3, maybe top 4 most reliable forwards in the Emirates era. His big game presence is so stamped and it's so undeniable. There isn't a team, there isn't no away ground where he hasn't banged it on their heads. He single-handedly in 12-13, he got us top 4. We had the whole Sander thing, like with him, like he done his knee, then he came back the following year, scored in the FA Cup final. Like just so much of his career is almost like people talk about, oh, he could have been more, he should have been more, but he spent so much of his career literally fighting against people telling him he didn't have a football brain, and he played at the highest level for such a long time. Like playing Champions League football in pretty much almost every year of his Arsenal career, apart from the last one or two, I want to say. Like, yeah, just a fantastic role model and and just a fantastic professional as well. And some of those goals, some of those finishes, ridiculous. Like, genuinely, I'm so blessed to have been able to essentially watch his entire Arsenal career, like as a fan, like going to the stadium every week. Like yeah, so pleased I got to see him.
A great shout. And look, he barely missed out on my top
Mm.
10, but I was talking to Omar beforehand. Theo Walcott is who, growing up, I would associate with Arsenal, with their technical ability, with their quickness,
Hmm.
especially, and with their explosiveness and with their attacking football. Like, because of Theo Walcott, I would associate them with, oh, these guys, they don't play like a boring style of football where they just sit back. They go
Mhm.
after it. They're constantly moving the ball, being creative. So, barely missed out on mine, right? He was an honorable mention that was a non-ach, but still, you got to appreciate him. At number 8, Freddie Ljungberg. I think he's a brilliant technical winger. I think he's so electric, and obviously it doesn't hurt to have a good FIFA Ultimate Team icon card.
He wasn't on my list, even though he should have been. But obviously, each their own. But he is when he was our temporary manager is when I really got to really know what kind of person he is and the way others spoke about him. And like Coach was saying about his impact on Saka, that's when he really like turned into the winger we always wanted him to be. So yeah, Ljungberg. Go. My number 8, Cesc Fabregas. So Fabregas is a player I wish we got to witness like his whole career with us. And and just like in the same case of Van Persie, I know we were having a conversation before about like do we have any like thoughts of ill thoughts of when they left and stuff like that. He's a player I'm glad left Arsenal at that time because we had zero ambition and he went on to win great things. And look at him now. I feel like dude, it's just the brain. He's like that. He has a Xavi brain, like we were having that conversation with the Barca top 10 list. Um,
He wants to be appreciated by Arsenal fans, Fabregas.
I
Yeah, and
think
he
he
won't, and
has
he won't
I
be
think
for
he has
me.
it though.
He won't
Oh
be for
shit,
me.
never mind.
I'll just let you know that now. But I'll let you. I'm not gonna be hopping there and be a hater, like and
No,
shit.
no, no, like, go say. No, no.
No, no, it's
Say
fine.
it, say it, say it.
I have nothing good to say, so I'm not gonna say anything.
Listen. Fabregas was my next option, so I do think you need to wax lyrical now. I can't let you hold it in. You gotta let us know.
I'll be honest with you. All I want to say about Fabregas is, you see, when someone does some dumb shit and then they want to play victim afterwards. We all know people like that. That's all it is with Fabregas was out here going to Grand Prix games and shit. He was out here flirting with Barcelona after the World Cup and shit. Like, all these sorts of things. And we could talk about, oh yeah, he loves us. Like, every interview, he's always talked about how much he loves us and shit like that. Only a guilty man does shit like that. Every opportunity trying to, like, just let it go. Like, legit, just let it go. Like, you don't see Nasri doing that shit. Like, Van Persie every so often does it, but he knows what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, just let it go. Just let it go. Like, you're a legend of the game in its own right. You're just not in some Arsenal fans as a legend, and that's okay. Not everybody has to accept you. And I'm not talking about him as a player because I know what he is as a player. Again, very fortunate to have watched him many, many times, like, close up. So I know, like, I know what the guy is. He just left a bad taste in my mouth, and I don't have to care for him. When there's like so many other Arsenal players that are just so much higher in my estimations than him. So yeah, as a footballer, one of the best we've had, but I couldn't care less, to be honest. My number 8, this is probably coming in a little bit earlier than some people would have thought, but it's Bukayo Saka. Um, Straight up and down, just off Halen tax. Halen tax alone. Um, Nothing else needs to be said. When a player comes through, makes it through the ranks at any club, by the way, when a player makes it through the ranks at any club, and then they somehow, um, you know, ascend to what we would call rare talent and a indispensable player kind of thing, you have no choice but to root for this player. Like, I've rooted for Marcus Rashford despite him making his name literally off ending our title hopes basically in 15-16. Um, any player that comes through apart from the class of 92 because they're all like racist twats. Apart from David Beckham, actually, to be fair. But any player that comes through academy, I always have maximum respect for them because of how difficult it is. The academy is not a joke. Like, the statistics are so scary when you actually put it into context. I know we talk about, you guys obviously American, so you know how hard it is to make it into the NFL, for example, despite there being 52 spaces on the roster, despite there being tons of universities all over the country kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, 52 spaces, and there's so many universities and there's so many of these teams kind of thing. To make it there, you're special in it, one way or the other. You are special. Like, it's even harder in football because the NFL only recruit, I'd probably say, what, 99% in the US, whereas you got academy players that are not native to the country that they're academy from. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So, for example, we could we could class technically we could class Pogba as a what do you call it, as a United what do you call it, Carrington grad, but he came
There
from
could have they could have done paperwork to make him an English product.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, but he came over when he was 15, 16. So you don't get that everywhere else. So it's it's difficult for me to hate on those sorts of players. But then you look at where he is and what he's done in his career so far, kind of thing, and just the level he's at, the conversations that he's in, to me, he's already an Arsenal legend. Like he's stamped. Like to me,
He was on a billboard in
yeah,
DC right outside a New Balance store. And
there
it
you
was
go.
Bukayo Saka holding some shoes. That's massive.
Yeah. So yeah.
So I gave my number 7. I said it was Fabregas. We already waxed lyrical enough. Omar at 7.
Number 7 is another Invincible, and it's kind of tough for me to talk about Invincibles because I'm like you, I didn't get to witness these guys just based off what we're seeing on the internet and articles and their interviews and stuff like that. Number 7, Sol Campbell for me.
Mhm.
Just based off him leaving Spurs alone, man.
Yeah.
The go.
Okay, so do you know what's so funny? Yeah, the whole Sol Campbell shit was so put like this. Even if Fabrizio was around back in 2001, he wouldn't have found out about Sol Campbell. That's how under wraps it was. Now we know years later, but basically David Dean had him in his garden, right, in his back garden, um, literally like I ironing shit out basically, and he had to come over like at 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning, kind of thing, and so that like there was no paparazzi and shit, and he didn't leave until about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And we had signed someone, basically. We had signed someone, and the press hadn't been briefed until like the first 20 until like the last 24 hours. So they were like, okay, you have to come to Colney. Also got a new sign to unveil kind of thing. And they were expecting, I forgot who he had signed, but they were expecting like a backup goalkeeper, or like a backup defender, something like that. And literally Arsene Wenger just walked out with Sol Campbell. Like it I can't say it broke the internet because the internet wasn't it broke the world basically. It literally just broke the world. And those days, the way you'd find out about stuff, there's something I don't know if you guys had in America, something called teletext. So basically, you'd press a button on your remote, and like
Mm-hmm.
a black screen would come up with like all of this like sort of colorful text, and it'd just be updated through like the satellite signal kind of thing. And you could like you could like
And
play like
that's where you would get transfer news?
that's how I found out on Releft. Like
Man,
Oh!
that's the real deal, man. I'm sick of this Twitter bullshit. I'm not gonna lie.
you know what I'm saying? Funny story. I found out we had signed Gilberto Silva after he had played his first preseason game. I was literally coming back from the park and I saw a newspaper from the day before, and Gilberto was wearing like our really nice blue away kit, O2 away kit that season. And it was a preseason game. I was like, holy shit, we just signed Gilberto Silva. I had no idea. Like, I legit had no idea. So, but yeah, the Sol Campbell shit, like he's on my list as well, but a little bit higher than that. But just as a player, like he turned down Inter, he turned down Barcelona, he turned down Bayern Munich. Like, it was a free transfer. So I think it was a highest paid player. We offered him like 90 grand. He took it. Yeah, like serious defender, man. Like genuinely one of the best. And internationally as well. Like, don't let I know a lot of stuff on the internet talk about John Terry and Rio Ferdinand and stuff like that. To be frank, those guys had better careers than him. I'm just not convinced these guys were actual better defenders. Like they're all elite to the max. But Sol Campbell, yeah, yeah. I don't know what I'd say other than the fact that he was just a man mountain for us. So number 7, I don't know if this is controversial or not because he's had so many detractors, and I spent a lot of my early time on Twitter defending him. But it's Aaron Ramsey. Um, Aaron Ramsey is the embodiment of never say die, and he has got as pause. He's got as big a bollocks as anybody you'd hope to play the game. But what I love most about Aaron Ramsey is how underappreciated his technical level was, because we all know he had a huge engine he could run for days, but the shit he could do with his left foot, most players couldn't do with their dominant foot, whether they were right or left footed. He was so good. Like we signed Ozil, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, Ozil was like by far Arsenal's best player." And don't get me wrong, he definitely was. Like at the time, especially in the first 2 3 years. But people that would automatically think, oh, the other players wouldn't be able to keep up with him and shit like that. Ramsey was right there with him. Ramsey was literally right there with him, despite what people might want to say. They didn't like Ramsey's style of play, whatever else, blah blah blah. He was right there with him as like our main man in midfield. And the leg break, I think the game was a Saturday, if I remember correctly. Yeah, the leg break, yeah, it's like a 5:30 kickoff, if I remember correctly. The leg break basically came at a time. If you think we have it bad now, and we do have it bad now in terms of the way the media would talk about us, during that period, every weekend it was Arsenal are soft. Even if we had won 4-0, Arsenal are soft. Arsenal are soft, Arsenal are soft. And it played into the way we were ref to the extent where you could make tackles like that and get away with it because Arsenal are soft, they go down too easily. Um, and that was just a culmination. That was like our third leg break in about 3 years at that point. It was Eduardo, it was DRB, and then it was Ramsey. No, it was DRB, then Eduardo, then it was Ramsey. So yeah, and he came back from that and was just fantastic. Like, yeah, loved the guy to bits.
At 6, we've spoken about him enough. I had Bukayo Saka. I class him as one of those what's that Marvel term? Anchor character or something like that?
Oh, the canon event.
Anchor, is it anchor being or am I tripping?
Yeah, that's the anchor
Oh,
being.
something being. Or am I tripping? I don't know.
That's what Bukayo Saka is right now for this generation. You know, this is he himself is single-handedly pulling kids, adults, getting eyes on the sport, eyes on Arsenal. And honestly, like, I couldn't be happier for you all to have a good person be the face of the team. Somebody who's a good guy too. Like he's just it's. You know, you were saying about you support Marcus, or not support, but you're happy for Rashford just because he came out of the academy and he's from there, and you're saying how hard it is, and that's exactly the same feeling back for Bukayo Saka. You know, it's I want to see him stay at Arsenal. You know, I'm always arguing with other fans that talk about Saliba going to Madrid. I want Arsenal to keep a nice project for Bukayo Saka. I want them to stay up there and to continue drawing fans to a historical club. Similar to mine, you know, I'd like for mine to do some good stuff too.
I'll be honest with you. The only other team I don't even want to see United do well. So that'd be like, but the only other team I can, I suppose, take doing well is United, only because it's a comfort. Because whenever United have been good, Arsenal have been good, basically, and vice versa. And that's just the way it is for me. So, yeah, sick of City, sick of Liverpool. Like the Premier League in general needs good United and Arsenal teams. That's just a fact. I think the 22-23 game was the most streamed game in US history. Like, you know, so the demand is there.
Are you talking about the game where Rashford and Saka scored bangers?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a great game.
Did the celebration back at each other?
Yeah.
This is what football's
no
about.
PGMOL then, you know? Yeah, so my number 6 is also Bukayo Saka.
Okay, cool.
There you go with Simo. So, I mean, listen, we could talk about that guy all day. He can
I mean,
play
the fact
everywhere.
that-
Left back, right back, left wing, right wing. Why not striker? Why not midfield? Who knows? That's our king, man.
Yeah, I think anyway, he's positioned long term, well, not long term position, but eventually we're gonna see him playing in the same zone as Odegaard because he can do it. He can actually do it. Like,
Do you think we'd play better if Odegaard was on a left center mid and Saka takes his spot?
I
his
think
position?
I think it simplifies Odegaard's game a bit more, where he and the angle bias goes as well, where you can just kind of get the ball on your strong side and just look for final passes. My boy, what do you want? Sorry, my cat just keeps bothering me. Um, yeah, I think his game simplifies a lot more, and we've seen there's enough evidence there already that the fact that when he's on the left side, the pass options to him are there. Like, I don't think he's got the best final pass in the world, but you know, you throw enough shit at the wall and something will stick. So get him the ball in those positions, and he'll make something happen. I think. Yeah.
Who did you have at number 6, Coach?
My number 6 was Sol Campbell, actually. So yeah, we spoke about Sol Campbell.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had him at 5, right? I had Sol Campbell at 5, and obviously taking the player from one of your rivals is a sweet feeling. To have that feeling that you guys experienced with Fabregas and Cole to a certain extent, that's what the Tottenham fans experienced. I mean, Tottenham fans are still bitching and crying to this day. And the Google Pixel commercial came out; they're seething with more rage. I will say though, he's been last few weeks going around for that viral video. He's spitting in that video. He's right.
It's facts.
He's spitting.
It's facts. Like, generally in this country anyway, like, black people aren't afforded the same grace As in, like people, like see me. I know you remember this, but do you remember Rooney flirting with City?
Yeah, 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 yeah. It,
So, but that's never ever brought up.
Gerard, what is it? Stevie G, Chelsea, right? No, nobody
Yeah,
wants to talk about that.
you see what I'm saying? Like, so, but black people never afforded the luxury of wanting better, and just wanting better for themselves. Like, make no mistake, Liverpool and Chelsea, even though Chelsea cheated, there was a huge gulf in their projects. The same way between Arsenal and Tottenham, huge gulf in our projects, kind of thing. Like, so yeah, is what it is, man.
We're at number 5, right? I said I have Sol Campbell there. Omar, who's number 5?
I got another invincible man.
Hmm.
Sorry, not invincible. Ian Wright. I said that. No, the other one's invincible.
Jesus.
Nah, Ian Wright. So yeah, basically a player that I didn't get to witness again, but he's been an ambassador for Arsenal for a while now, so we see him everywhere. He's always talking good about us. He had a hiccup, I would say, back last year.
Well, look, even
But
so, even
it's not,
I
it's a
took.
normal hiccup.
Well, for me, it's just a guy who supports the team, and he's like, maybe this will work, right? He's like, maybe try this. This could
I
be an
get
option.
you. I get
And
you, but you
that's
can also look at it as like, why our guy? Why should he be sacrificed? I guess yes, he would be the best player there, but it is what it is. Whatever.
When you said hiccup, I thought you were talking about years back, like
Oh
the
no! I would
oh
know
no, no,
that,
that
man.
one is crazy.
No, no,
no,
no, no.
not even that. I'm talking like probably between like 2011 to I want to say 2014, 15, where like basically I'm blocked by Ian Wright on Twitter, just so you know. And it's not, and it's not, and it's I love Ian Wright is on this list for me, by the way, and it's not because of anything that I said to him, but I remember the distinct period where a lot of the time where the shit that we're seeing with Carragher and stuff like that, not to the same degree, but we'd get similar things from Ian Wright talking about Arsene Wenger, talking about Arsenal shit like that, and it's just like you can't have. Okay, so put it, it's the same way you got Paul Scholes talking shit, pretty much was similar to what Ian Wright was doing, like in the early years of like earlier years, should I say, of Twitter kind of thing, and a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people haven't forgotten that, to be honest. Um, and yeah, that's where like a lot of shit just like I wouldn't say disillusioned me, but it really just made me really mad and upset because I see so many of these other legends like looking at their clubs with rose tinted glasses and propping them, even if they're wrong. Like, don't let anybody talk shit about your team. You see what I'm saying? And he's there like lapping it up and stoking the fires. I'm thinking you don't do that kind of thing. And I'm genuinely glad that for whatever it's caused, whatever it was, he's learned, and
Well, look, he's done such a great 180 to the point where it worked on me, right?
yeah,
I'm like, no, this guy's always backed the club. This guy,
yeah,
he's the one arguing with Keane and them and Gary and shit. But nah,
yeah,
like certain things you can't forget. For me,
yeah.
I haven't liked Scholes for like 10 years close up to. I mean,
Well, he's a
Lampard.
racist, so there's that as well. So.
There we go. Right. As soon as I started realizing, like, oh, so you have a problem with all these kinds of players, but these
Mhm.
ones are allowed to do anything they want. The game's gone at that point. You know what they're
Yeah.
trying to do.
My number five, this is gonna sound crazy.
Dude, it's
Um,
fine.
but my number five is Dennis Bergkamp.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does sound crazy to me, at least.
It sounds
Dang.
great. It's up, but you have to remember, for me personally, Dennis Bergkamp was probably, I want to say, one of my core club football memories, but not no, he was my first core club football memory, actually. Um, but I didn't actually, he wasn't a hero to me properly until a little bit later. Ian Wright is hiding him on the list, obviously, but he wasn't a hero to me only because Ian Wright, well, I'll get to Ian Wright anyway, but he wasn't a hero to me only because straight up and down, he's white. That's just the way it is, isn't it? Him and while like, I loved Alan Shearer and shit like that, I love Shevchenko and shit like that. You gravitate towards where you gravitate. Dennis Bergkamp technically is one of the best players to ever play football. Like in 100 years, you're gonna still see guys talking about shit Dennis Bergkamp did. Like, and it's not even just the level of consistency. It's what the other great players say about him, as what the other great managers say about him as well. Dennis Bergkamp did everything to the letter of the law. So much so that in games when he did shit, ridiculously hard shit, it looked it didn't look out of place. It didn't look like, oh, we never seen that. I never expect that from Dennis Bergkamp, because you expect everything from him. That's the level of game, level of game understanding and shit that he had. And there was particular goal, I think it was against Bayer Leverkusen in the Champions League, where he's basically bodied someone, and he's bodied them on a half turn, and he's chipped the goalkeeper from about 20 to 25 yards out. And it's not like it's a counter attack or anything. It's settled play. Like, we're settled play. They're in their deep block. He received it on a half turn, and he's seen a goalkeeper off his line, and he's chipped him. And that level of cheek and, like, just, I suppose, audacity only comes from players that are truly, truly special. Not You don't see that today. You just don't see that today. Like, you don't get chipped from open play in a deep. It just doesn't happen. Like, he's that kind of player. So yeah,
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's like a story between him and Henri when Henri came in, and in a way Henri was trying to take the reins of the club, and he basically had to outdo Bergkamp and everything he did.
not
I don't know the depths of that story, but he kind of just like had to do whatever he did like t to like tenfold, and he
so
ended up
base
doing it, I guess, or something like that.
so basically, when he joined Arsenal, like, the original plan was him and Anelka to play together. Like, that would have been absolutely crazy. But obviously that didn't happen. Um, but when he joined Arsenal, there was Kanu, Suker, Bergkamp. Um, I can't. Was there one more? I can't remember exactly. Maybe no, he was the fourth. So in his head, Henri's ultra competitive. So in his head, he's thinking, "Oh, I'm at the bottom of the queue already," kind of thing. And he doesn't know that he's just as talented, if not more talented than the rest of these guys, kind of thing. So in his head, he's thinking, "Okay, clearly Dennis Bergkamp is the best player at the club, so he's the one that I need to essentially um be better than, at least." And I suppose when he first came, he didn't realize that essentially that I I'm the main man for the goals. Dennis Bergkamp is everything else. um, so yeah, Dennis he learned a lot from Dennis Bergkamp, obviously, like in terms of technique, in terms of the way he trained and stuff like that. But I don't feel like in his head, yeah, he's ultra competitive. He wasn't competing with Dennis Bergkamp in the way that he thought he was. He was just like, oh shit, this guy's fantastic. I need to be on that level. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to take his lunch. I just need to be. If he's the one that's playing, I can't I can't bring the level down. I've got to at least meet him where he is. Basically, that's the sort of player Henry was. So
Yeah, that's where the
Hey,
great chemistry comes from.
yeah.
okay, so at 4, we spoke a little bit about him, off the field. I had Ian Wright.
Mhm.
Wonderful servant of the club, right? Goals galore, I think. Brought to what I was saying about my list and what it comprised of, a cultural, there's a reason why Arsenal has so many black fans. Like, it's absolutely incredible
Mhm.
what, representation and seeing yourself up there and somebody that looks like you, talks like you, acts like you. It does something to you. And I mean, as silly as it sounds, me being in what, middle school or whatever, early high school, and seeing Marwan Shamach play in an Arsenal kit, it's fun to see. Moroccan with spiky hair and a receding hairline at the same time. You're like, this is nuts. So Ian Wright, 1 Prem, 2 FA Cups. I think do it again if you could.
Mhm.
The rest of the players are all players. Obviously, I didn't get to watch, man, but I remember before is Tony Adams. I
Mhm.
had him higher. I had a conversation with you, but I had to tweak that a week after. So he's a player that's had a long tenure at Arsenal, and when you get dubbed Mr. Arsenal, you can't leave him outside that top five. So, but I put in Tony, Big Tony, Tony Adams.
Yeah, Tony Adams was. It was funny because my lasting memories of Tony Adams, ironically, is two, holding the FA Cup with Vieira, because we knew Vieira was going to be captain in 2000 from 2002 onwards. So them doing the joint sort of lifting the trophy together was like a passing of the guard. So that's like my lasting memory of him. But my other one is basically all the headlines he'd make with the drinking and the cocaine and shit like that, and the fact that, like, he dated, like, the I don't know, the it girl. I think he married the it girl, the it girl in the country, kind of thing. Mr. Arsenal, in the England captain. He's got, like, the hottest girl and shit. Like, so those are my last memories of Tony Adams. But yeah, the volley against Tottenham, obviously, is there. The half volley against Everton. Yeah, genuine, like, legendary defender. Wasn't much he couldn't do. great in the air, great passer with both feet. Could play in the back three, could play in the back two. Yeah, great defender, man. My number four is Ian Wright. Now, I had to fight basically between him and Robert Pires. And the only reason why Robert Pires, spoiler, Robert Pires isn't on this list. And I realized I probably might want to have to redo it. But the only reason why Robert Pires isn't on this list is literally because of four black men. So that's literally the only reason why. Um, I could easily swap him for somebody else, but I feel like it would do him a disservice to put him like, close to 10. He deserves to be higher. But yeah, Ian Wright is Ian Wright. He was a hero to so many of us, like where we all grew up kind of thing. It was, oh yeah, this person used to live next door to Ian Wright, or this person went to school with Ian Wright, or like he was a local hero for so many people. And literally just the other day, no, genuinely just the other day, drunk man on the bus. He sees me coming from the Arsenal game. You can see the pin. You can see a Arsenal pin on my hat. I think, what was it, Arsenal jacket? I can't remember anyway. And he's like, oh, he's coming from the game. I was like, yeah. He goes, oh yeah, me, my missus back in the day, her best friend was Ian Wright's girlfriend at the time, kind of thing. And yeah, I know he's a drunkard, but because of the area that we live in, like I know for a fact he's telling the truth. It's that kind of community thing that Ian Wright has. Just he was just a genuine hero. Like my sister's, there was a guy in my sister's year in school. He had meningitis, and Ian Wright came to visit him.
That's
Um,
class.
yeah, like he was just amazing. Apart from the fact that he scored stupid amounts of goals, like the Just Did It vest, the Nike advert
I
where
mean,
we
so
had
much
that.
personality too. When you talk
Yeah,
about a guy, like even now that I'm going back and I'm watching stuff. This dude was doing chicken noodle soup commercials,
yeah, yeah,
hosting different television shows like
yeah,
reality TV.
yeah. I mean, he had a whole song. I forgot the name. I forgot how the song goes, kind of thing. But yeah, yeah. Like the Nike advert, for example, as well, was just like he was among like he was rated among the world's best. Like that Nike advert, Ronaldo was in it, Cantona, Maldini, Campos, I think the Mexican goalkeeper. Um, bro, star-studded. Like like when we talk about Nike marketing and like what Nike's marketing was between the mid 90s to like the mid to late 2000s, Ian Wright was right at the beginning of it. Like talk about cultural icon, cultural impact. He was right there.
So at number three, I had Dennis Bergkamp. I
Mhm.
feel like I put him a little bit too higher just because numbers, goal contributions, what he
Mhm.
brings, in terms of statistics and whatnot. Culturally, for me, I had a couple of uncles that would talk about him, right? But
Mhm.
like, it wasn't somebody that I was like, oh
Mhm.
man, this is Arsenal, this is everything. But I feel like I would be remiss to not put him on the list
Yeah.
because he had a materialistic contribution to what the team was doing week in and week
Mhm.
out.
Okay.
I also had Dennis Bergkamp at number three.
Cool.
Yeah, can't leave him out. But then I kind of messed up. I also left out Perez.
Mm.
But like you, man, I'm starting to rethink this whole list again. So,
To,
but at
to
least
be
I know
honest,
my top two.
I
We're
could, I
good.
could easily, I could easily put him in there. But the only reason why I'm not going to put him in there for we're number three, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
we're at
sir.
number three.
The person at number three is Nwankwo Kanu, and Kanu was such a huge impact, not just like for us, as football fans, kind of thing, but for us as Nigerians, right? It was perfect. Like it was almost like by the time he had joined Arsenal, I was like, what? I was maybe just going to be 10. I wasn't even 10 yet, I want to say. But I'd already watched him at the Olympics. One of my first memories was him like running around the pitch with the Champions League with Finidi George and Davids and Seedorf and shit in 94. But the 96 Olympics is stamped into my memory forever. So we're already thinking, yeah, like, oh my gosh, Kanu. And then he comes to play for my club. Oh, this is perfect. This is just too, it's perfect. A Nigerian playing for my club. Like, you have to remember, like, at 9, 10 years old, and then a bit older after, like, how much more perfect can it be? Your team's essentially the best in the country, if not the second best in the country. We're winning shit, and Nigerian is there killing it, absolutely killing it. He's playing with Vieira, he's playing with Henry, he's playing with Bergkamp, he's playing with he's playing, and it's like he's there, he's an invincible. Like it, it blows my mind to this. Like every day, it blows my mind. Like he made it. Like one of us. Like he's there. He made it. Like he's just a legend. And then that alone, the legend is there. But then the actual play itself, he is by far the most unathletic African to ever play the game. However, he might be the strongest because to play the game at his pace and the way he played it, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. Like fantastic footballer. The hat trick against Chelsea, the dummy goal against Deportivo, the flick against Middlesbrough. Um, yeah, man, just genuinely, it's like he was already a Champions League winner before he joined Arsenal, already Olympic gold medalist, and then like it. It felt like it literally felt like I'd won, I'd became a millionaire. That's what it felt like. It was just incredible.
That's why I rate Wenger, man. Like Mr. International.
Yeah, man.
Mr. 305, just going around getting people, bro. All right, my number 2 pick,
Yeah.
without any controversy, I think. The man right there, one of my all-time favorite Frenchmen, Patrick Vieira. World-class player. I think when people compare him to Roy Keane, I cringe. I love Patrick
Well,
Vieira.
United tried to sign him. Like United tried to sign him like twice while he was at Arsenal. So
Yeah, we love taking from y'all, bro.
Yeah.
You guys will find the perfect candidate.
Yeah, you guys loved Alexis Sanchez. You know what I'm saying?
All right, relax. That didn't work out for you either.
It didn't. But my number 2 is also Patrick Vieira, and man, like you said, like even to this day, I feel like we still haven't replaced him. Even I mean, I could say Declan Rice, but man, Declan Rice is nowhere near what Patrick Vieira meant to Arsenal. So big
Yeah.
player. And like I said, Simo, I had Patrick Vieira at 4 when I was cooking this up, and when I just realized, like, man, I mean, yeah, I was like, what am I doing here? Let me just before he ends up calling me outside this call, be like, what are you doing?
Yeah, he's obviously my number 2. My memories of Vieira are split into 2 compartments. Nike Vieira and Adidas Vieira. And Nike Vieira, to me, probably isn't my favorite version of Vieira, but he's the version of Vieira that I essentially had my first sort of steps towards understanding like what a a good midfield player should look like. There wasn't a single thing Vieira couldn't do on the football pitch. If you want him to run you, he can run you. If you want him to pass, he can pass. Obviously, he loved the tackle kind of thing. If you needed someone to make a third man run, if you need someone to take the sting out of a game, if you needed someone to just go and kick the opposition, he could do it all. Complete and utter solution to whatever problem you had in midfield. And the one misconception that people have of him is that he was a defensive midfielder, and the guy was not a defensive midfielder. And the easiest way for you to understand this is look at his partners at club and international level. At club level, it was Petit or Gilberto Silva, right? Or Edu or Ray Parlour, right? And all of those guys, when playing next to Vieira, had to take the back seat because it's fucking Vieira kind of thing. At international level, again, it was Petit or Makaleli. Or there was like a couple other no marks, but Vieira was the main man. Like, and Vieira being the sort of player where, yeah, he excelled in a 4-4-2. He could excel in a 4-4-2 diamond as well, playing on the side. Or he could play in a 4-3-3 as the box to box. But my favorite thing about him genuinely was probably his passing. So underrated. Like we talk about players doing like, outside of the foot passing and shit. Like Vieira was doing that for fun. Bringing the ball out of the air, drawing players in, and then he had a signature move, right? They call the sombrero, where he just knocks it over your head, kind of thing. Could you imagine a 6'4" player, like he's under pressure and just knocking it over your head 2 or 3 times, kind of thing? And
I can. I had him for a few years, Mr. Paul Pogba. Oh my God! And I think that
Vieira was the blueprint. He was so fucking good. And a quick story about him, like a game that he played. So back in the day, basically, when you got booked, basically, especially when you had a accumulation of 5 yellow cards, they used to basically suspend your booking, so you'd be able to play like the next game, but it's the game afterwards that you'd miss, kind of thing. So we were playing Charlton at home, and it's a goal, you can look it up basically. he's gone through on goal kind of thing, and instead of him just placing it around the keeper, chipping the goal, well, or should I say, just blasting it, he's ran through, and he's hit the goalkeeper with a step over with his right foot, and then chipped it with his left foot over the goalkeeper. And I always remember that goal because it was almost like a this is my going away gift for you guys. You guys are gonna miss me for a couple of games, but this is my going away gift for you guys. I think we won 3-1 that game. And it was just that level of he basically every time Vieira was on the pitch, I didn't feel like we could lose. Which is crazy saying that about him because the person who's gonna be at number one. But that's the level of assurity that Vieira gave us, man. He was just, yeah, genuine superhero, man.
And number one, the man himself, Titi. I think this is the most unanimous decision one can possibly make about this club. Arguments have been made to be one of the best Premier League players of all time.
You just gotta love the guy, man. Just the ball dark, everything. Even now to this day, he just looks the same. He talks the same. The guy, you just cannot hate the guy. If he would like he would aside from like Tony Adams, he's someone I would want to call,
Mr.
Mr.
Arsenal.
Arsenal. When you think Arsenal, you think TT.
Mhm. Thierry Henry, yeah, is my favorite sports person ever, point blank, period. Like, regardless of sport, he is my favorite everything. Favorite footballer, favorite striker, favorite sports personality, favorite French person, like everything, like, and it's simply because of the fact that he was so good at football that he genuinely made me believe that we could, like, when Arsene Wenger the year before said that, oh, we can go a year unbeaten, we can go the whole season unbeaten the year before we did it, kind of thing. In my head, the only reason why that was going to happen was because of Thierry Henry. And the next year he scored 30 goals in the league, right? This is coming off the fact that he scored 24 goals in the league and got 20 assists that the season before. And I was like, yeah, if we're gonna do it, it's gonna be because of him, basically. Um, there are so many, I mean, so many games I could think of, I could reference, I could talk about just little things that he done, some shit that he done in warm-ups that you wouldn't even see players try to attempt even now. Like some of the things that he could do, some of the goals that he would score that people wouldn't even forgotten about. There was a goal he scored in pre-season that's better than most players like goals will score in the entire. I'm talking strikers, Harry Kane and shit like that. Like the things he could do with a football, like there's an old saying that goes, when a player is really good, like things that this player can do with a football, this player could do with an orange. So let's just say Harry Kane, we know, is really talented. He does all these great things with a football, but Thierry Henry could do that with orange. Like that's how good he is. I suppose I'll talk about his branding again as well. Henry was obviously sponsored by Nike, and he wore like the way he style as well. Like put it like this, you guys remember how he used to wear his socks, right? He'd unfold them all the way up to basically past these knees, right?
Yeah.
So many players did that after him, right? And they all referenced him, right? But the way he would match his boots with his gloves, with the jersey, like it was iconic. And you knew what kind of day you'd be in for. He yeah, the Mercurial Vapors, we all know it obviously R9, those are the R9 boots kind of thing. But Henri himself literally made them his own. Like I'm not talking about the ones that everyone's. I'm talking about the ones even before that with the night tick on the ankle. Those boots, those Micro Vapors. Like he won a golden boot with those boots, right? And then the next season, that's when he started wearing the silver ones with the big night tick. But he was putting in work for so long. I mean, he got 4 golden boots in 5 years, 3 in a row, and on top of the fact that he was just a creative monster, an absolute creative monster. The whole Nike Scorpion shit, like his team won. He beat Ronaldo in the final. Like obviously it was a part of the story, or whatever, but it was him, Totti, and Nakata. Like that whole shit there was just magical, man. That yeah, I don't know how it's really hard for me to articulate it because more than anything, it's a moment and it's a feeling. Like knowing that you've got the best player in the world basically, and he plays for your club, and every week, fans of other clubs are singing his name. Like he would go to Portsmouth away, and they would sing his name. Like even though we just beat them 5-0, doesn't matter. He was that good. And every other week he's getting a standing ovation. The way like commentators will talk about him during the game or on match of the day and shit, they wouldn't mention, oh yeah, but this they'll just talk about Henri. They wouldn't mention like, oh yeah, but no, it will just be Henri's on his own level. He's on his own planet. And yeah, I ain't got nothing else to say, man, in that regard. He's
Did,
my hero, straight up and
did
down.
you think after the '06 Bernabeu game, did you think that's it? The Champions League is ours, or did you have some
No, during
reserved
that
feelings, a
time,
little bit worried?
watching Arsenal during that time in Europe, yeah, I always had this inferiority complex, like because of how many teams that we were better than, but we just would always crash out against them. I remember like 2 years in a row we lost to Valencia, and we were better than Valencia, but we just couldn't crack the European code. I think we went out one year to Bayern Munich, and they didn't have a player on Henri's level. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it was just, but that year, knowing that we had a makeshift defense pretty much up until the semi-final, it just felt destined for us. And it wasn't to be, obviously, but yeah, that whole Champions League run as well was all him pretty much. We had a great defense, but he scored and assisted. I think in every round apart from even in the final, he assisted our only goal. Like, yeah, he was just genuine magic, man.
People always say Ronaldo, CR7 and Messi, right? Maradona, all these guys are aliens, right? I
Mm.
absolutely think Henri fits the mold. This guy's an
Yeah,
alien. He's not from here.
100%. What is he? 6'3". He's six
Come
foot
on.
three. Every single week he steps onto the pitch, he's by far the strongest player on the pitch. Like there's a goal he scored against Chelsea where he's left Marcel Desailly on his face. He just barged him onto his face and finished with his left foot. Like there's just so many I mean so every week, right, at the Emirates, after the game, before the game, everyone's crowded around Henri's statue because they just want to take pictures. Like it doesn't matter when it doesn't matter what the weather is, if it's raining, snowing, it doesn't matter. People are there to take pictures of Henri's statue. Um, Obviously they're committing shirk, but, like
Yo, yeah,
that's
yeah.
just the that's just the measure of his legends. Like, he's cast in iron and shit, but he's still there. Like people are still there to see him. Like yeah, he's mental, man.
Coach Omar, thank you so much for joining me. Before I get you guys out of here, I'm looking a little bit into the future. I want to ask you, this winter transfer just ended. Can you guys tell me what you want in the summer transfer?
We need a striker. That's obvious enough. I know I've been backing Havertz, but I'm not backing Havertz in the sense that I think he's our striker moving forward. I've been backing him as a player for Arsenal. We have been missing a striker since Aubameyang, and even Aubameyang, uh, as far as his great performances, he wasn't the guy that was going to lead us to glory.
Like I'm very much the person I like the shortest route to green. Like I don't try to do the whole sort of yeah, we get this player and then after a year he's gonna bang kind of thing. Arsenal at the point where you've just bought Declan Rice. He came in, there was no settling in period. Doesn't matter. So yeah, whatever Newcastle are gonna ask, just pay it. Just go get Isaac. Go get
I'm
Isaac.
liking it.
And
I'm liking it.
like it's not I don't feel like it's arrogant but if you want to win and we are in a position where we should be trying to win, like go for the shortest route. Like don't worry about oh yeah, but this just do it. The squad is already young enough anyway. Like if okay, Isaac gives us 3 good years, who cares? 3 good years, imagine we get 2 Premier League titles and maybe a Champions League. You know what I'm saying? But even in 3 good years and get 2 Premier League titles, I'm taking that. You know what I'm saying? He can fuck off of that. I don't care. But this is the sort of things we need to do. In terms of the wide player, we've talked about Nico Williams. I love the player personally. I think he's fantastic. But if it's not going to be Nico Williams, then you know, Ekitike is obviously a striker, but again, there's scope for us to kind of, play about and move around our forward line to accommodate him if he wants to play wide or whatever else. Um,
A Barcola shout.
Barcola, you never honestly Barcola is dynamite, absolute dynamite. There's Rafael Leao as well. But the whole point is I haven't mentioned Sesko, and the only reason I haven't mentioned Sesko is because we buy him, he's still gonna be a project. He's still gonna be a project. And I want players that have already proven something, they've already done something. Now, yeah, you can be ahead of the curve if you want and get a Sheshko. I have no issue with that. But don't get a Sheshko and say this is our guy. No, get a Sheshko and supplement him with a Nico Williams, with a Isak. You know what I'm saying? Like make sure that it's like we're not pinning our hopes on him the way we pinned our hopes on Havertz. Like that's all I want. Because I'm happy with the business that we've done in general. Like our defense, the option we have in defense is really good. The rotations we have in midfield for the most part, at least, are really good. In some, I expect us to go again, but for the most part, our rotation in the midfield is pretty good. We need another creative spark, but we're doing fine. You know, it's just the forward line sorely needs some surgery, man. Some real surgery that is needed.
I mean, when your forward line's all Saka for 2.5 years, it's definitely a problem. When teams are, planning only to stop one player, not worrying about the other two, it kind of slows us down. So any player to take the weight off Saka and let him flourish is fine with me, man.
And that's why Gakpo has flourished so much this season, because I get the feeling that next season he probably won't be as good, but the fact that teams are so focused on stopping Salah, kind of thing, you get another good player on the other side, and then now you've got problems because okay, you try your best to stop Salah, but can you keep the other one out for 90 minutes as well? You see what I'm saying? So yeah, man, that's where I'm at, man.
Omar, coach, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having us, man.
واخويا وخليه واخويا وخليه. People let it talk, I let them do it all week. When it's time, better let the man see more speak. It ain't sweet when you line up in the big leagues, big names and the best teams with the critique. Always on point, better come and grab a good seat. واخويا وخليه. I ain't got no time to waste, talk ain't cheap. واخويا وخليه. واخويا وخليه.